Welcome to the Know, I'm Ashley.
I'm John.
Nintendo Switch is just about the hottest new gadget on the block, assuming, you can get one. And now, right on cue, we've got someone else claiming that they made the damn thing first and they want the money for it.
So, a new lawsuit has been filed against Nintendo over the handheld console, with the plaintiff alleging that they own the patent for the system's detachable Joy-Con controllers. They're even pushing to stop it from being sold altogether.
That's like the Oculus approach. It's like that comic come to life. Like, when you're like, it's like, I made this, and then the teacher like, you made this? I made this. And that's not the only hot water Nintendo's found themselves in this week, because in addition to being sued for patent infringement, they may also be facing yet another production crisis, since the sole supplier of Switch's touchscreen is kind of going bankrupt. Oops, look, they may not have to pull it from shelves.
That's not good. So good old Switch, always doing it both ways. But first, the new lawsuit. Where it comes from. It was filed this week by Gamevice, a mobile gaming accessory company, over their gaming tablet accessory, also called the Gamevice.
That makes it easy to keep track of.
Just a bad name.
In their lawsuit against Nintendo, the company describes the Gamevice as a game controller that provides true gaming controls for use with a smartphone or tablet. The Gamevice game controller is designed to work with both Apple and Samsung devices and includes a collection of traditional gaming controls, allowing gamers to play hundreds of video games on their smartphone and tablet devices. Which is actually pretty handy if you do something stupid like buy, Sid Meier's Pirates on your phone, and then you realize that that's not the way to play it.
It's hard. And when you look at it, yeah, it kind of looks like the Switch. I've seen this complete with detachable controllers, and that's the part that they're after Nintendo for specifically, saying that the Joy-Cons directly infringe on their held patent. The lawsuit references the patent in question, which covers a computing device. The computing device providing a plurality of sides. Each of the plurality of sides are disposed between an electronic display screen of the computing device and a back of the computing device.
So more language in the patent talks about communication between the two sides of the controller, the device itself, inputs from the controllers to the device, and a structural bridge that holds all of it together. They also attach a number of photos of the Switch torn apart to demonstrate how Nintendo has violated all those things.
Yeah, they claim that all of this has caused irreparable damage to their 2015 device that nobody's ever heard of until now.
It's true, we were all gonna buy one and then we heard about the Switch.
Just abandoned it altogether, and they will continue to suffer unless the court awards them a bunch of money and shuts the Switch down forever. How much money they want hasn't been stated. They'd rather leave that up for a jury to decide, but I can guess it's a lot.
Yeah, lots of zeros. As of now, Nintendo has yet to respond to the lawsuit officially, but you can bet they'll probably be fighting this one tooth and nail. Nintendo similarly holds patents for the Switch's design and the device itself, of which the Joy-Cons are a critical piece, which might be the key difference for them here.
This, of course, isn't the first time Nintendo's been sued over its technology.
Not even close.
Yeah, they were sued twice over the 3DS, once by a former Sony employee who held the patent for no glasses 3D screens. That case ended up with Nintendo originally being ordered to pay him $30 million in damages.
However, since that ruling came when the 3DS wasn't profitable, it eventually changed to where Nintendo had to give him 1.82% of the wholesale price of each 3DS sold. That is probably a lot of money he's ended up making, and probably helped fuel the transition, potentially even to the 2DS, because they don't have to give him any money on those because no 3D.
And they were also sued all over the place for the Wii by a number of patent holders. Some of those they won, some of those they settled with, and a couple of those they lost in certain territories.
But in general, overall, these things do tend to go in the favor of Nintendo, who, generally speaking, does tend to protect itself out the ass when it comes to over-patenting everything, which is why so many people love to follow their patents and see if we can guess what kind of crazy gadget the company's cooking up next. Remember the patents for the little crazy little pill-shaped controller that they were even considering for the Switch? That was fun.
They can still do it. It's no surprise to see people coming out of the woodwork to try and take away Nintendo's money. The Switch has been a huge success since it launched, moving over 5 million units in total since March worldwide. And that's always going to attract people who think they should get a cut of the profits.
Well, why work for stuff when you can just take someone else's stuff? Obviously. A couple months back, Nintendo was already hit with a trademark dispute over the Switch name. That one came courtesy of a church in Oklahoma, which had trademarked the name for its youth ministry, t-shirts, and other merchandise.
Not even gonna get over the ramifications of naming your church thing Switch. So
maybe they just believe in corporal punishment.
I hadn't even gone there either. There's just so many routes that you should not name that. So, A patent dispute was always fairly likely to follow up next. That's the way these things tend to go. As for whether or not Gamevice has any legal leg to stand on, their system has already been out since 2015 with other versions before that even. Their main battle will probably lie in proving that the controllers are the same, despite being used for different types of devices. That kind of distinction can go a long way in court.
Well, especially since Nintendo does have their own patent for that. It was awarded to them. They've got it. But we have seen crazier things happen in the past. Apple, for instance, lost $600 million last year to a patent troll, and it just lost another $500 million this year to the University of Wisconsin over patent disputes.
Yeah, even if Nintendo gets around this lawsuit, which is likely, are they even going to be able to keep producing enough Switches anyway?
That's I think probably the bigger immediate concern for gamers, at least.
Yeah, so word broke this week that in addition to the problems Nintendo is already facing with Switch thanks to the shortage of NAND memory, they now may face problems with the Switch's touchscreen too.
Yeah, that's because their sole supplier of Switch screens, Japan Display, is on the verge of bankruptcy. That company reported this week a loss of $260 million plus from the past quarter and apologized to investors for the mismanagement of the company.
Sorry, my bad. That was the memo. Since Japan Display is the only company supplying Nintendo with the right screens, this could pose a bit of a production hiccup. That's a pretty major cog in the production machine.
You kind of want to be able to see it, right?
The screen's a big part of the thing. It's a big part in the front of it. It's very important. However, they're fortunately not Nintendo's only option when it comes to getting more screens, so it's not exactly like the NAND memory situation where there just isn't enough supply to go around. Still, Nintendo doesn't need anything interrupting the chain at this point.
Right,
so.
At the very least, if they have to switch suppliers, it's going to cause additional delays as they get those up and running and get that process going. So that's going to be a huge headache if that's what ends up happening. Doesn't mean Switch will go away, it just means that they'll be that much harder. So this is very certainly unwelcome news for Nintendo, who just hasn't been able to make enough units to keep up with the demand anyway. And it doesn't look like they're going to be able to ramp up the production anytime soon either, if this is the big concern that we have.
In their most recent earnings call, they continue to keep the forecast for the first year of sales around 10 million Switches total, which has led to the belief that that's all they'll be able to produce at all. That's all you get.
Right, because sales estimates, especially going into holiday, they could potentially do more like 12, but they're hedging their bets. So while neither of these situations are really great for Nintendo, they have navigated their way out of troubled waters before. If anything, they've proven a number of times that they're more resilient than a lot of other companies. We'll just have to see how things unfold with both Gamevice, that lawsuit, and the potential shutdown of Japan Display.
So, what do you guys think of all this Nintendo news? Are you worried? Are you fine? Are you freaking out because you can't find a Switch yet? Let us know in the comments.
I'm gonna go home and hold my Switch and be grateful that I have one. For more updates on Nintendo Switch, including when more are actually available and how scared you should be going into this holiday if you're trying to get one then, remember to like this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to the know.
That's not good. So a new lawsuit has been filed against Nintendo over the handheld console with the
Plaintiff?
What's a complainant?
I mean, that's the person who's complaining. It is a word, I think.
Is it?
It's a word, it's not the right word.
Oh, okay. So plaintiff.